This video by the Last Prisoner Project displays their goal with their organization, which involves getting those who are currently incarcerated for matters of marijuana charges released. This currently matters given the fact that these policies were made a decent while ago before the legalization and decriminalization of weed occurred across the nation. And therefore, these individuals should no longer continue to suffer in this incarceration when states they might even be incarcerated in could be entirely legal for marijuana. So due to this, we need to discuss how this came to be, why this is a problem within America, which can be dated back all the way to the war on drugs, what the Last Prisoner Project is doing, as well as what you as an individual can do to help. So what currently is happening is that roughly 40,000 Americans today are incarcerated for marijuana offenses. Even though the overall legal cannabis industry is booming, one state after another is legalizing, and cannabis companies are making healthy profits, as found in June of 2020 by Forbes. Essentially what this means is that there are thousands of Americans currently incarcerated and suffering away from their families, away from their lives, while others continue to profit based on the exact same thing, marijuana. This is entirely unjust and unfair, as many of these policies that they are currently incarcerated for occurred a while ago and occurred before the legalization and decriminalization happened. It is unfair that these individuals are continued to remain in the same conditions, even though the policies that they were originally arrested upon have changed. And thus we must discuss these changes. The National Conference of State Legislatures is an online database which collects all of the states' different laws and policies for it all to be easily accessible, and it is continuously updated and therefore is up to date as of right now in 2021. Therefore, currently there are 27 states plus DC that have decriminalized marijuana. Decriminalized is different than legalized, as it is rather that individuals are allowed to possess a small amount of marijuana and should not be arrested. It does not mean it is legal, it means it is no longer criminalized. Now, 36 states and DC have legalized medical marijuana. This means that various states allow for treatment of either mental illnesses and mental health issues, as well as physical health issues, such as pain relief, to be used with marijuana. Now, 16 states plus DC have legalized recreational usage of marijuana. This essentially means it is treated under the same guidelines of alcohol within our country, which means that essentially 21 years of age or older individuals are allowed to be using this as they see fit. Decriminalized means that they should not be arrested for it. Legalized means that it is within the same industry. It's like an industry such as alcohol. Now, given this contest of different legalizations and decriminalizations of the same issue, it makes absolutely no sense for there to have been no changes in the incarceration of these individuals who have suffered due to the same matter. And of course, we must address this racial disparity of these individuals. The American Civil Liberties Union found in 2020 that there is a 4-to-1 likelihood of marijuana arrests between Black Americans and white Americans. This essentially means that it is 4 times as likely for African American individuals to be arrested than white Americans for the same crime within America. But why is this? Well, it can be started with the war on drugs, which in the end divided America between political parties as well as ethnic and racial groups. The government first started by continuing the stigma that Mexico and Mexicans were bringing drugs into America and that they created the issue. Then it went on to that it was the urban community, which is political terms for African Americans or people of color, POC in general, that they were creating this issue in America and that was their fault. This created a racist association between African Americans and drug use and has thus created more of racial tension within our country, as well as leading to police patrolling this community more, which can be seen here with the early 2000s showing by the FBI and the US Census that there is a large disparity between the Black arrest rate and the white arrest rate for the exact same crime. This heavily patrolled matter means that these individuals, those of African American, they are continuously being arrested for this matter, even though it's the same thing as those of white Americans, there it happens more. This also means that this community is continuously kept in the poor subsection of America as their family members are being arrested, the parents, these adults. This is entirely unfair, and thus the Last Prisoner Project has sought to help with this by bringing awareness, advocacy, and intervention. Their main goals are to get cannabis prisoners released and to expunge the record, which essentially means getting the crime taken off the record, given that that would make sense within states where it is no longer considered a crime, and to help them integrate back into society. They also seek to ensure a just cannabis policy is made within these states.
Our promise to you and to every cannabis prisoner is that we will not rest and we will not stop until we achieve that goal. Can you imagine sitting in a cell, looking out on a world where people are legally building intergenerational wealth, doing exactly what it was that you were incarcerated for?
This message of theirs has resulted in them getting numerous cannabis prisoners released. This has been done with help with awareness through documentaries they've made, social media advocacy, organized protests in DC, as well as them using donations to sponsor expungement of records of those who are released, as well as using resources to integrate them back into society through teaching them new technologies, getting them in contact with their family, and getting them jobs. But what can you do? You can donate. You can donate to the Last Prisoner Project in order to help them. You can also bring awareness through social media like Instagram and Twitter, as well as talking with your peers in order to make sure this issue is known. You can also advocate yourself by partnering with the Last Prisoner Project, or by going to protest in March, or sending letters to your legislators or your representatives to let them know that this can no longer continue to stand. Now, this is a matter that affects all of America, as it is unfair for these individuals to continually be within prison, even though the charge that they have been imprisoned upon is no longer considered a crime in a multitude of states. This needs to be solved, and the Last Prisoner Project is going to ensure that it will happen. And due to that, this organization should have your support, and we hope that you will donate or just bring awareness. Anything you can do is very helpful in order to end this problem.